Say hello to the Steam Deck OLED. This is a revamped version of Valve's handheld PC, and it features significant improvements inside and out. Its screen is better, its battery life is better, its thumbsticks and haptics are better, its chip and thermals are better, and its size is exactly the same. Let's take a closer look at the still big and slightly better Steam Deck OLED. This is not the Steam Deck 2.0. The Steam Deck OLED is a mid-cycle refresh similar to the Switch OLED, but there's a lot more going on internally here. For developers, this means the device has the same performance targets as the original, and there's no need to create games specifically for the new hardware. The new Steam Deck's main upgrade is its OLED screen, which replaces the original LCD and, crucially, has native support for HDR and faster frame rates. The OLED also has smaller bezels, making the display larger. It's 6.4 inches compared with the original 7-inch screen. The HDR OLED display looks fantastic. It features a wider P3 color gamut, pure blacks, and a peak brightness of 1000 nits, compared with the original max of 400 nits. In action, this means the screen's bezels meld with the black of any game, creating a more polished frame for retro aspect ratios and providing room for higher contrast colors. The screen on the new model doesn't support VRR, but it can handle a refresh rate of 90 Hz, while the original topped out at 60. The updated display is smooth, crisp, and bright, kind of like a perfect lemon tart. One of the downsides of the first Steam Deck was its short battery life, which maxed out at 8 hours, and that was only under ideal conditions. Valve says the new Steam Deck battery will last 30 to 50% longer, depending on how you're playing, and it'll charge faster, capable of rising from 20% to 80% in 45 minutes. The Steam Deck OLED has a die-shrunk version of the custom APU found in the original Steam Deck. Same CPU and GPU, just more efficient. This is the process Sony goes through to build the PS4 Slim and PS5 Slim, but instead of collapsing the Steam Deck around the smaller hardware, Valve chose to add a bigger battery and a larger fan to its existing chassis. In the end, the Steam Deck OLED weighs about 30 grams less than the original model, or the equivalent of 5/4. Which leads us to the bad news for my tiny hand gang. The Steam Deck OLED is the same monstrous size as the original, 11.7 inches long, 4.5 inches tall, and nearly 2 inches thick. The thumbsticks on the new model are actually 1 millimeter taller than the first version. This was one of my main complaints about the Steam Deck when I first reviewed it. I have smaller than average hands, and the Steam Deck looks and feels absolutely ridiculous when I'm holding it. It's just massive, no matter how long my manicure gets. However, the OLED feels more balanced than the original. It's less top-heavy, and it does technically weigh less. These small adjustments have made a noticeable difference during my playtime, and the Steam Deck OLED feels slightly more manageable as a handheld. Or maybe I'm just too distracted by all the bright, pretty colors to care about the cramping in my palms. Either way, I'm into it. Valve has also implemented improvements to the device's touchscreen latency and responsiveness, audio output, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, touchpad haptics, and repairability. The thumbsticks on the new handheld have an improved texture that shouldn't turn gray after a few months' use, and they feel great so far. I spent a few cozy nights on my couch swapping between the LCD and OLED Steam Decks, and honestly, after I'm done with this review, I'll probably retire my original model. The OLED Steam Deck is sharper and more responsive. Indie games, AAA games, and plain old Steam menus look so much better on the new hardware. Hades is my most played game on the original Steam Deck, so I use that to test out Valve's battery life claims. Though it doesn't support HDR, a game like Hades pops on the OLED, and its animations look more fluid than the LCD version. The OLED lasted about 4 hours and 23 minutes before dying. With the same settings, 800p and a 60 FPS cap and similar brightness, the original model died after 2 hours 42 minutes. That's actually a 62% improvement, though batteries degrade, and I've had my LCD Steam Deck since launch. In a stress test that involved playing Elden Ring with maxed out everything, the battery lasted 2 hours 20 minutes, about 40% longer than the original. Playing the Steam Decks back-to-back also highlighted a significant quality of life improvement: heat management. My palms have gotten toasty playing the OLED model, but they haven't broken a sweat like they often do with the original. The new fan may be larger, but it's not any louder, and it clearly works a treat. The Steam Deck OLED has a new Wi-Fi 6E module and improved antennas that should enable faster downloads for anyone with a compatible router. I don't have a 6E router or multi-gigabit Wi-Fi, but with a regular Wi-Fi 6 router, the top download speed I saw on the new Steam Deck was 562 megabits per second, which was about 10% faster than the old Steam Deck, and 10% slower than the speeds I get on my MacBook Pro. Even with improvements to the battery, thermals, and weight distribution, the Steam Deck OLED is still more of a Wii U than a Vita. It's a beast of a handheld, and it makes the most sense as a portable console to use around the house, rather than a truly travel-ready device. The new model even comes with an extra-long 2.5-meter charging cable, designed specifically with couch-based players in mind. I didn't test out the docking station with the new Steam Deck, but Valve recently released a SteamOS update that lets players take advantage of HDR and VRR on external displays. This only drives home the Wii U-ness of it all. The Steam Deck OLED will go on sale on November 16th at 1 p.m. ET, and Valve has units ready to ship that same day. The company has lowered the price of its LCD lineup and will sell through its backstock of 64GB and 512GB models until they're all gone. It'll continue selling the 256GB LCD model at a reduced price of $400, while the 512GB OLED model will cost $550. There's also a limited edition 1TB OLED version priced at $680 that comes with a special carrying case, a translucent gray body, and orange accents. The HDR OLED model is what they would have released the first time around if the technology had existed before 2022. The handheld market has evolved quickly. In just over a year, the Steam Deck proved there's widespread demand for handheld PCs, and its success helped drive chip makers and display manufacturers to build hardware specifically for high-fidelity mobile play. This is great news for Valve and the Steam Deck, and also the other handhelds coming out of companies like Ayaneo, Asus, Ain, Logitech, Retroid, and Razer. Hell, maybe even Playdate will get an HDR OLED display one day. Just kidding. Playdate is literally perfect. Please do not do this, panic. So no, the HDR OLED refresh isn't the Steam Deck 2, but it is a welcome improvement on an already good device. More importantly, this is Valve renewing its commitment to portable PC gaming, and that's a relief to see. The Steam Deck is the granddaddy of handheld PCs, and Valve has the resources to continue innovating in this space. For now, the OLED model is a half step toward the Steam Deck 2, which may be the final version of the device, unless Valve finally learns how to count to 3. For all of the latest video game news, subscribe to the Engadget YouTube channel and check out Engadget.com.